We all face unique challenges, being from the Midwest and rural states like Oklahoma, North Dakota, and even major metropolitan areas such as Boston, New York, San Francisco, L.A. We all have issues facing us when it comes to clean water. Sometimes it's policy related, sometimes it's neglect, sometimes it's a lack of funding. But what we do know is one size does not fit all. And we need to give municipalities, states flexibility to allow them to make decisions for their unique areas. And a lot of times when Congress, we may have good intentions. Sometimes it's politically driven, sometimes it's actually policy driven. And I think that's what we're trying to do here, Chairman, is have good sound policy. But one size never fits all. And when we throw tremendous amount of money, I mean, $55 billion is a lot of money still for anybody. I don't care who you are. It's a lot of money. And then we put restrictions on it. I think we hear from all of our witnesses is, hey, we know where it needs to go. We need the flexibility to do so. And if we're going to be funding these projects, then we need to make sure that we get those dollars as close to the state, as close to the individuals providing the service as possible, and give them the tools to do it without having the restrictions, which happens so often with federal funding, is that every dollar has so many stinking strings on it that they can't even access it. And that's what I believe Mr. Folk, you was saying a while ago, is that what Senator Kramer was trying to say is that just to get through the bureaucracy, to get to the funding, is a miracle sometimes in itself. And so my question to you, Mr. Folk, is what tools do you need for rural parts of the country, which is most of the Midwest? What would be most helpful? If the money is there, what tools do you need to access it?
Yeah, Senator, great question. Things we talk about all the time. The flexibility would be immensely grateful. I know visiting with our state folks, they would love that. The technical assistance.
Flexibility in what? Be able to use the dollars for certain projects without having restrictions on the projects. Be able to use flexibility on navigating the bureaucracy. What?
Especially with this funding, like say with the lead component on our water side, we run the risk in our state of maybe not spending down our first tranche of money as quickly as we can, and we can't apply for the next set of money until we spend that down. And we run the risk if we don't apply for that, I believe before September 2024, we could lose that money, and that would be reallocated to a state.
Good afternoon, friends. So will there be a government shutdown in 2 weeks? Many lawmakers in both the Senate and the House are warning that time is short. Many Republicans are demanding big spending cuts. Experts have confirmed that this could impact the American people financially in a few ways. My dearest friends, please do me a big favor and watch until the end of this video. Also, I will be announcing the winners of yesterday's Walmart gift card giveaway, so do stay tuned. If you would like to enter these weekly giveaway, friends, please click and like several of my videos, and then comment below the keyword of each video that you watch. The more videos that you comment on, friends, the greater your chances of winning these weekly giveaways. According to many experts, the Senate has a gloomy outlook on Congress's odds of avoiding a government shutdown. GOP Senator Kevin Cramer told reporters this week, "I am convinced it is happening," pointing to House conservatives who have downplayed the effects of a shutdown on Americans. Government shutdowns play out differently, but they can have wide-ranging impacts, from recipients of food assistance programs seeing delays to federal employees being furloughed. Senators have been approaching the process of keeping the government funded on a mostly bipartisan basis. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer announced at a weekly press conference that the upper chamber would vote next week on 3 out of the 12 appropriations bills needed to avert a government shutdown, praising both Senate Democrats and Republicans for moving swiftly on the process. But on the other hand, Chuck Schumer urged the House to follow in the Senate's footsteps to avoid a shutdown. Chuck Schumer stated, "I beg my House Republican colleagues to follow the Senate's leads, to recognize that time is short, and the only way to avoid a shutdown is through bipartisanship in both the House and Senate." House Speaker Kevin McCarthy has a big task ahead of him, wrangling his narrow 4-seat GOP majority to pass a temporary spending bill in order to avoid a shutdown by September 30th. But Speaker McCarthy's right flank from the House Freedom Caucus, which is a loose coalition of the most conservative lawmakers, have drawn very hard lines on government spending. GOP demands have virtually zero chance of passing the Democratic-controlled Senate, or even passing with full GOP support in the House. If Speaker McCarthy cannot reconcile the differences between his right flank and more moderate members in the GOP conference, the U.S. government could be on the path towards a shutdown. Other GOP senators share similar sentiments with House conservatives on cutting government spending. However, they still believe any funding deal to avert a shutdown will have to come to a middle ground between the House and Senate spending proposals. So, dear friends, do you think a government shutdown will happen? Please let me know what your thoughts are in the comments section below. A government shutdown pauses programs and government operations, only for them to eventually start up again, and that is very costly. The Office of Management and Budget estimated that the loss of productivity of government workers during the shutdown in 2013, which lasted 16 days, cost the U.S. government $2 billion. More recently, a report issued by the Senate Permanent Subcommittee on Investigations found that the last 3 government shutdowns cost U.S. taxpayers nearly $4 billion, at least $3.7 billion in back pay to furloughed federal workers. This also includes at least $338 million in other costs associated with the shutdowns, including extra administrative work, lost revenue, and late fees on interest payments. Government shutdowns can also harm economic growth and certainty. While programs like Medicare and Social Security would remain largely unaffected, other programs and services could be interrupted by the temporary furlough of non-essential government staff. Government shutdowns contribute to economic insecurity among all federal workers. During the last shutdown, about 800,000 federal employees were either furloughed or went without pay. This included workers at national parks, national museums, correctional officers at federal prisons, and officials from the Transportation Security Administration. The gap in pay creates an adverse situation for federal workers, as about 20% of Americans are unable to pay their monthly bills. Also, government shutdowns may harm recruitment and retention of quality staff. Experts interviewed by the Government Accountability Office noted that prolonged shutdowns may alter the perception of federal jobs and reduce the appeal of such jobs for new workers. Well, my magnificent and most marvelous friends, that is the end of my daily stimulus update video. Thank you so much, dear friends, for joining me here and for being part of this community. The winners of yesterday's Walmart gift card giveaway is Paul Palomino Ramos and Michael Briggs. Congratulations, my dearest friends. To claim your gift cards, please check your notifications page and send me a message. Or, friends, you could message me on my Facebook page. Thank you and have a wonderful and very blessed day.